Look at us. Look at us. Who would have thought? Not me. It's Fulham versus Bournemouth, and I'm your host, Saj Rahman, and I'm delighted to say that the Cherries on Top podcast is back, and we've got Fulham focuses Dylan Chavasse. Dylan, thank you for joining us today.
It's a pleasure for you to have me on. It's an honour to be here.
And of course, who would have thought, What's the start to the season for both teams?
Yeah, it has been an unprecedented start, to say the least. I think when I looked at our fixtures going into this sort of October period, everyone was waiting to just sort of get through the first 2 months. So, pretty unscathed with as little damage as possible because we've already played Liverpool, Spurs, Arsenal, should have played Chelsea. So we had a tough start to the season, but we did really well, to be fair. We've punched above our weight so far, I think it's fair to say. Similar to Bournemouth, really. And yeah, it's been a great start for two teams who were pretty much written off at the start of the season.
Of course, but what would you put this key to success down to in this start of the season?
Oh, I think you can't really look past one man, Fulham. And that is Alexander Mitrovic. He's just been so good for us this season. And he looks leaner and fitter than he did last year. And of course, then he scored 43 goals in the Championship. So I don't know what he's done quite this season, but he's just been amazing. Scored so many vital goals for us. 2 against Liverpool on the opening day for a valuable point. Last minute winner against Brentford. Should have probably had 3, but you can't complain if you get anything off Liverpool. That's what I found.
I mean, at least you didn't get pumped 9-0, so
could be worse. Last minute winner against Brentford. Some key goals against Brighton. It's really just been sort of revolving around him, really. If we're going to score, it's usually him that's bringing it back on the net. So I hope he's back for tomorrow, really.
Exactly. And I think it's fair to say that Fulham started the season maybe slightly more at a fast pace than they are currently now. I mean, they one win in the last 4 games against a team that we both love to beat, Nottingham Forest.
Yeah, winning 3-2 from behind. We've been there before.
Exactly. But 2 big defeats to Newcastle and West Ham. Fairly big defeats in the last 2.
Yeah, the Newcastle performance was, I think, more concerning than the West Ham one in the sense that, Newcastle, good team, but it's definitely beatable, especially given the start we had to the season. To go 10 men down, one Nathaniel Chalobah sent off after 5 minutes, just sort of ruined the game for us. And then we just looked like we weren't really at the races. Mitrovic going off injured didn't really help our sort of cause. But the West Ham performance, it wasn't awful, Scoreline 3-1, but a couple of dubious decisions in there from the referee, which I won't really deliberate on, but not really sure. There's a case for ruling out each of their 3 goals. But we didn't actually play too badly by the sounds of it. Fortunately, I couldn't make the game. So I'm not too worried. And I think tomorrow against Bournemouth is perhaps, I don't want to sound harsh, but it's maybe the best chance we've got to sort of bounce back and get a good result. But that being said, Bournemouth are on a good run of form, and it won't be easy by any stretch of the imagination.
Of course, as I was saying, with the form at the moment, do you think it's just a slight blip in the road, or could this be the longer term downfall that we usually see with Fulham, I must say, in the Premier League?
I don't think we're going to be winning and drawing every week like we sort of started the season. I know we had a few losses against big teams, but I think it's important to maintain perspective. I would still take 17th in the league, even though I think we should be fine. Part of me just thinks survival is so important. As long as we get that 17th spot, I could not care less where we come, because we're not going to break the European places this season. Mid-table is mid-table. If we can just get that 17th, we'll be fine. I think the form may drop off slightly compared to the pace we started off this season, because a lot of it depends on injuries to players. Mitrovic's been out for the past couple of weeks. Kenny Tete's been another important performer this season. He's been out the past couple of weeks with injuries. And then, you never know. You say Andreas Pereira, Bernleno gets affected. Even Tim Ream and Tosin Adarabioyo. Completely butchered the pronunciation there. But, injuries to any of those players could sort of derail our season, even if it's just for a couple of games. But the nature of the league is so sort of dog-eat-dog that
it is indeed.
1 or 2 losses on the bounce and you find yourself right back amongst it, don't you?
So on the positive note, I did work out that hopefully 8 more wins for Bournemouth, it might be teetering towards 9 more wins for Fulham, would mathematically have seen us safe in the last 10 seasons. So
how many have we played so far? It's 9,
so
isn't it?
9 to go.
Another 9 wins out of that. It's possible. It looks a lot more achievable this season than it has for the past 2 campaigns for Fulham in the Premier League. Let me tell you, that's a horrible view.
Let's talk about Bournemouth then. Since that 9-0 drubbing to the hands of Liverpool, and Scott Parker being sacked, of course, Scott Parker was an ex-Fulham manager.
Yeah.
Bournemouth have gone unbeaten in 5 under Gary O'Neill. Are you surprised, as an ex-Fulham manager, that Bournemouth have gone on to do better without him?
Well, I just always thought he was a bit of a weird appointment, given, his sort of. I know for the Championship he's fine, and I think what he is probably at the moment is a good tournament manager, because what he is very good at doing is not losing games of football. But he has no idea how, when he's up, to sort of hold on to a lead or even attack and go for a lead when it's drawing. I think he just wants the points he's got. I was surprised to see him go so soon in the campaign, because I do think he is a good manager. There's a good manager in there, let's say. It didn't quite work out for him at Fulham. I think it's just a combination of that, turgid season in the Premier League, but there's no fans.
Do you think the reputation of him at Fulham has been slightly soured because of his tenure as manager?
100%. I think it was slightly unfortunate the way it sort of happened because it could have been different with fans in, but some of the football we were playing is horrible. Not what Fulham fans want to see. And I know he was probably trying his best for us to stay up, but it just looked sometimes like we're completely devoid of ideas, confidence. Alexander Mitrovic wasn't being played, and of course he was sort of
strange now.
Really strange now. You sort of think last summer the board had a choice between Parker or Mitrovic. Really, I think the rift there was so large. Glad they picked Mitrovic, but I do think he can be a good manager. It's just I think it was his comments about the board at Bournemouth that got him the sack in the end. But you never know. So far you can't say that their decision to sack him hasn't paid off, because they're in a far better position than they were.
Exactly, and you mentioned Mitrovic. I've mentioned Solanke already. Yep. Those two both were goal scorers in the game at Vitality Stadium. That crazy 98th minute equaliser.
Yeah.
Probably set Bournemouth onto automatic promotion again.
I think if you'd have lost that game, I think Forest would have gone up automatically.
Yeah, I think Bournemouth were 3 games on the trot without winning, losing all 3 and not scoring in any of the 3 as well. So
we would have won that game, and then if the rest of the events happened the same, they beat us the Tuesday after, so I think that would have been them up. But all 3 teams up in the end, so no point speculating.
There's obviously 2 points separating both sides, 2 places between the sides, and the 2 top goal scorers. Who do you expect to come out on top between Mitrovic and Solanke, without having your obvious bias? Do you think he's going to be back? That's another thing.
I hope he's back, because I think we play a lot better as a team without him. I'm not saying Vinicius is bad, but I think he's such a big part now of the way that we play, that everything is sort of focused around him. It'd be foolish of me to say that I want him back, because this is a winnable game for Fulham, and he's going to be central to any sort of hopes of victory that we've got. I'm not saying if he doesn't start we won't win or we haven't got a chance, but he's definitely a big factor.
Do you feel, I think the rest of the Premier League fans feel as though if Fulham are without Mitrovic, it's a much, much weaker side. Is there truth into that? Or
there's an element of truth to that, definitely. I mean, if you look at, last season, not so much, he scored 43 goals, but we still scored a ridiculous amount of goals, even though he wasn't involved in that.
Harry Wilson scored.
Harry Wilson could be back this weekend. He came off the bench at West Ham last week, and I'm excited to see that sort of link up between him and Mitrovic again in the Premier League.
Back at Bournemouth as well.
Yeah, he was. I think he scored a free kick since Bournemouth.
That's the only thing that he did good in the Bournemouth club. Really. But
no, it is a harder prospect facing Fulham with Mitrovic, and without that, that's goes without saying, I think.
And obviously, Solanke did score in both fixtures last season. One of them being the famous kickoff glitch.
The viral kickoff routine
that every team has tried to copy so far. And what do you think Bournemouth's biggest threat will be this time around? And what are the areas of weakness that Bournemouth can attack in this Fulham side?
A player that I really like from Bournemouth is actually midfielder Philip Billing. I just think he's so imposing on the ball, and he seems to complement Jefferson Lambert really well. Lambert, a little bit of a hothead. Billing seems quite cool, but also really powerful at the same time. Sort of striding through the midfield. He's quite tall, isn't he?
Yes, he is. Sometimes gets complaints about looking rather languid, not like he cares enough.
But I think on his day, and in the right sort of stage, he can be a really important player for Bournemouth. I always liked watching midfield players play, and I think he can be someone on his day who's really impressive. Areas of weakness of Fulham, I'd have to say Tim Ream, not an area of weakness, but a 34-year-old centre-back in the Premier League. Even though he always outdoes my expectations and performs quite solidly every week, I still think that the next game is always going to be the one where he makes a massive mistake, and we all ask, why have we been starting him for so long? So every week for the last 4 years now, I've been pretty much hoping, don't let it be this game. And to his credit, it's still not been that game yet, but would say that's always a niggle in the back of my mind.
Mighty Dom Solanke yet, though, has he?
And then, well, tomorrow I think right back, if Kenny Tete is not back, then it looks like a sort of straight shootout between Kevin and Babu and Bobby Decordova-Reid for that right back role. And Babu would be my choice as a natural right back. Hasn't had too many chances to prove himself so far on a Fulham shirt. He hasn't left the best impression, but jury's still out because he hasn't had that much time to make an impression. Bobby Decordova-Reid played really well at right back and right wing back in our relegation campaign a couple of years ago. Like, he's not a natural right back, and against players like Ryan Christie, Marcus Tavernier, part of me does worry that he could find himself on a sort of sent to the shops or whatever, left for dead. But then I don't know, the wingers at Bournemouth they aren't the sort of calibre, I know, like a Saka or a Foden.
Workman winger.
Yeah, and I think that Decordova-Reid will have more a chance again against players like Saka, Foden.
Yeah, more skillful, tricky ones that will.
Yeah, just drop a shoulder and go. Got the lightning Premier League pace. At the top end of the game.
So going into the game, then, how are Fulham approaching this? Do you think, as with every other team that Bournemouth have faced this season, they're expecting a guaranteed 3 points, or are you more cautious? And sensibly so, more cautious, seeing as Bournemouth are on a positive run at the moment.
I think
is the crucial factor the fact that it is at Craven Cottage?
Yeah, for me, I think I'm not cautious about Bournemouth, but wary of the threat, of course. But Bournemouth at home, if you want to stay up this game, you have to be winning. Really, and the fans tomorrow will expect a victory. I think rightly so. Had a couple of tough games, but we haven't played badly. Had a few decisions go against us, but it's not been. We haven't looked dead and buried. I think against Newcastle, we were a bit devoid of confidence towards the end, but I think that can happen when you get let down so early on. You have a couple of things that don't go your way, like injuries. I think tomorrow we'll be looking to bounce back and with a vengeance against Bournemouth. And I think, because it's at home, we've got to be looking to take 3 points. I've always said, away from home, if you get a point, that's a good result.
Yeah,
I think that's regardless of the opposition in the Premier League. If you come away with a point, that's fine. But here, Bournemouth at home have to be looking at 3 points, even though Bournemouth had a really good start to the season. We've almost matched that start, to be fair. So there's no reason why we can't come away with 3 points.
Of course, and I think it's fair to say coming into this season, Fulham and Bournemouth would have been underdogs in pretty much every game that we're going into.
Yeah, definitely.
But we're currently sat in 8th and 9th.
Yep.
If you add 8 and 9 together, it gives you
17.
Can you name the 17 different goal scorers between both sides all together this season?
This season, how long do I get?
You've got 2 minutes.
Okay.
I'll give you a countdown. 3, 2, 1, go.
Alexander Mitrovic, Bobby Decordova-Reid.
Yes.
Joao Palhinha.
Yes.
I'm trying to think now. Lewis Dunk own goal.
Oh,
does that count?
I haven't got it on here, but
Lewis Dunk own goal.
That was a couple.
Mitrovic scored against Brighton. Mitrovic scored against Spurs. Chelsea was postponed against Tottenham. Forest, it was Tosin.
Yes.
Palhinha and Harrison Reed.
Yes.
Last weekend against West Ham, it was Andreas Pereira.
That's who you're
and Newcastle, Bobby Decordova-Reid.
Yes.
Bournemouth.
Yes, go on. This is the top part.
This is the top part. Yeah. Has Solanke scored this season?
He has.
Ryan Christie has scored, I know.
Yes, he did in the last game.
How many Bournemouth scorers have you got?
You've knocked off 2. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 left.
Six left. Wow. Billing has scored.
He has indeed.
Surridge? Has Surridge scored?
No, he's not even that Bournemouth.
Oh, sorry. No, my bad. I'm trying to think of the Forest score.
He actually went to my school though.
Zamora.
No, he hasn't scored.
Lerma has scored.
Lerma has scored.
Was he the first one?
First goal, yeah. Yes, indeed.
And went to your school. Oh wow. He must be an academy product.
No, Sam Surridge went to my
school. Surridge.
Sam Surridge, yeah.
Marcus Tavernier, has he scored?
No, he hasn't, not yet.
I'm running out of names here.
You were running out of names as well.
Marcos Senesi.
Marcos Senesi, no,
he hasn't scored.
A name that rhymes with Senesi, though, did score in the cup.
Oh, Bruno Genesi.
Yeah, Genesini, I'll give you that. Yeah,
against Norwich.
Yeah.
Wow. You're in. It's got me.
Who would George Reece-Julian love to see score in a Bournemouth shirt?
Jamal Lowe.
No, he hasn't scored yet. Has he scored?
Don't know, but he used to play for Swansea.
No. There's another.
Oh, Welsh.
Welsh connection.
No, it's not David Brooks. It's Kiefer Moore.
Yes, Kiefer Moore, my lord. Yeah, and then You've got a couple more, but you've got...
What positions? What positions?
You've got... Right, we'll start with time. You've got two wingers. Two wingers. Two wingers. You've got two wingers left in this.
Oh, wow. Do you know what games they scored in?
Oh,
I've completely...
Yes, one of them was against Norwich in the Cup. So that's a tough one.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
Ex-Brentford player.
Marcondes.
He's the one, yeah. And then you've got the man that came on against his former club, Arsenal, for his Premier League debut, kind of written stars.
And he scored. He didn't score.
He didn't score against Arsenal, but
he came on against Arsenal for his Premier League debut.
Yes, indeed.
Jadon Anthony.
It is indeed.
Really?
That's the final one. But yeah, apart from that, did fairly well there.
Yeah, the bottom ones I can tick off. But the ones
you would name in every single goal, rather than every single goal scorer. Wow. Well, to wrap up then, Dylan, we'll finally go with the prediction. So, Saturday, 5 o'clock, driving back in your car, got the radio on.
Yep.
What are you hearing for a radio presenter?
Fulham 3, Bournemouth 1.
Oh, goals. Well, speaking of goals, then who are the goal scorers going to be?
I'll go for Mitrovic, Harry Wilson, and Schmeichel.
I believe 3 goals would be the same amount as Gary O'Neill's conceded in the time that he's been.
That's what Big Serve does.
Take away the Forest game.
That's what Big Serve does, man.
And then finally, finishing positions for both teams. Will this finally be the week that someone says Bournemouth stay up?
Do you know what? I'll go for Bournemouth 17 and Fulham 15.
I like it. I like the positivity.
Yeah. You've got to be optimistic whilst you still can be.
Exactly.
Supporting a mid to low team in the Premier League.
Positivity for once on the Cherries on Top podcast. Between two teams that have been promoted together, you consider them slight rivals, but hey, there's love in the air between these two.
Yeah, now Scott Parker's gone, we can all agree that he's...
Hey, I'm going to keep myself tight-lipped on that because I know my opinion on Scott Parker probably doesn't match the same other people's. I'm just rather happy to see him go. Let's just say that. But that is all that we have time for on the Cherries on Top podcast. Dylan, it's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
And we will see you, hopefully, in the second game back at the Vitality Stadium.
Definitely.
Thank you very much, mate. Thank you very much. And I will, of course, link Dylan into all the socials down below. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. All the good stuff. And we shall see you for hopefully a game review on Monday.
Yeah.
Yes. Look forward to that. The first ever one.
Up the Fulham.
Up the Cherries. See you later.